And welcome back to Backspace Academy. In this lesson I'm going to run through what we previously did with connecting to EC2 Windows and EC2 Linux instances, but I'm going to do it using a Mac instead of using a Windows PC. So if you're a Windows PC user, you can skip over this lesson, it's not for you. So now in the EC2 Management Console, we'll launch an instance and we'll select the Amazon Linux AMI and a T2 Nano, and we'll auto assign a public IP. We'll skip over that and we'll go to security group. So we've got a security group there for SSH on port 22, which is fine for us. So we just review and launch. So I'm just going to create a new key pair here. Okay, so now we'll just download that key pair. And I'll launch that instance. Okay, so that's currently pending, and after a certain amount of time it will be up and running. Okay, we can see there now that our EC2 instance is up and running, so we just select that and then we'll click on Connect. So the first thing we need to do is to change the permissions on our PEM file that we downloaded previously when we created the EC2 instance, and then once we've done that we can connect to our instance using the terminal, using that endpoint. So I'm just going to jump into the terminal. And I'm just going to create a directory for putting this key pair into there. Okay, so just created that there now, and so I'll just CD into that. And now just jump back in and grab that file, and I'll put it into that location. So first of all, I'll just get Finder up. And there's the key pairs directory. Let's jump back into Chrome and grab that file. Okay, so just going to copy that file over to the key pairs directory that I just created. Okay, so that's that done. Okay, so that's fine. So now I've just got to create, or just to do a command to change the permissions on that file. So I just jump back into here, grab that command, save me typing it out. Just put your password in there, and that's changed the permissions on that for us. So now we've got that key pair file located there, and we're in that directory where our key pair is, so we can now look at connecting into our instance through the terminal. So I just jump back into Chrome, just grab this, and AWS have made life a lot easier for us here, so they've just given us the actual command that we need to use in terminal, so we just copy that over. And paste that in. And just type in yes for that. And there we go, we've actually connected into the Linux instance there. And so we can do our sudo yum update if we want. And there we go. So we've successfully connected into our Linux instance using a Mac. Something new for me. I'm not a Mac user, so it's was quite interesting to get to do this. But life is a lot easier for Macs as compared to Windows. So this, as you can see, we just go straight into terminal. There's no using putty or anything like that. You just go straight in, and it's a lot easier. It's very easy, very similar to the process that you use with Linux as well. So now that we've launched an EC2 instance, we've connected into it with SSH, and we've run some commands in the terminal from our Mac. Let's have a look now at using SFTP to transfer files from our Mac across to the EBS volume that is attached to our EC2 instance. So we use FileZilla the same as we would with Windows. So just go to the FileZilla website and download and install FileZilla. Then once you've got it up and running, just go to File, Site Manager, and then create a new site. Now our host will be the public IP address of our EC2 instance. So I'm just going to jump back into the browser, and I can see here this is the public IP address of that EC2 instance that I want to connect to. And we're going to connect on with port 22 for SSH, and our protocol will be SSH File Transfer Protocol, or SFTP. And we're going to be logging on using our key file or our key pair. So all we need to do is just browse for that key pair, and we just download that. And there it is. Now our user, because it is an Amazon Linux AMI, it will be EC2-user. Will be the user. If it was an Ubuntu AMI, the user would be Ubuntu. So we'll just connect into that now. And just trust this host, not a problem. So it just connected in, it's retrieving the home directory of this, and there we can see, so we've got our EBS volume that we're having a look at now, so we've got our home directory there, which is EC2 user, and that looks all pretty good. So now we'll look at connecting to a Windows Server instance from the Mac. So again, let's launch an instance. So this time we're going to look for a Windows Server Standard Edition. We don't want the Data Center Edition. We're looking for so here we go. So Microsoft Windows 2012 Standard Edition is the one we're looking for. So we'll select that. We'll select the Nano instance for that. And we'll go along and we'll make sure that there's a public IP enabled. We don't need to add storage or tags, but we need to configure a security group. So obviously we need 3389 for RDP connection to a Windows Server instance. So that will be fine for us. So just review and launch. And we'll use the same key pair that we used before. And we'll just wait for that to boot up. Okay, so our EC2 instance there is up and running, so let's just have a look at that. So what we can do now is that we can get our Windows password, and we do that by opening our key pair, and then we get the contents into this box here. So I'll just open that up. So there's our PEM file that we downloaded previously. And now we decrypt the password. So there's our endpoint for this server, and this is our username as administrator and our password there. So we just need to go into an RDP client. Now on Mac, the one that I've found that seems to be quite reliable is Cord, C-O-R-D. So just go to Google and type in Cord RDP and you'll find the website for that. So just download that and install it. So once you've installed it, you'll get a screen like this. So all you need to do is just click on servers, and this little slide will come out, and just add the server information. So I'm just going to give it a name, EC2. Now the address will be the endpoint, which is here, our public DNS endpoint. So I'll just copy that and bring that over. and our username and password. Okay, and we just save that password there. So all we need to do now is just close out of that form, and that should be all ready to go. So we just double click on this instance that we've created, or this server that we've just created. That will connect us straight in. And there we go. So it's connected, and it'll start to do its business, and we should get a user interface for our Microsoft server. Okay, so there you can see. So we've connected in, we've got our user interface for our server, and everything's fine. So that brings us to the end of this lecture, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next ones.